What is up, guys? Welcome to the Show Stopping Wrestling This Year in Wrestling Review. We've been away.
We haven't really been around for most of the year, so why are we doing this version?
We've been away, and we're back with our end of year review to kickstart all our recordings again. If you are new here, please do like and subscribe to us down below. Head over and follow us on Twitter at ShowStopWrestle. All the links are down below. What we're going to do is we're going to go through what we think our top moments, best wrestlers, best matches, worst matches of the year are. Whether or not Tyler and I agree may be a different thing, but that's what we're going to do. We're going to head through our.
What do you mean?
Our list.
What do you mean? You're wrong and I'm right. Yeah.
I think it works both ways. Yeah.
No, you're normally wrong.
But yes, please do give us a like down there. It does help us out. We'll kick right off into, I reckon, top talker of the year.
Well, that's got to be Brock Lesnar, right?
So,
let's be honest. Every year it always goes to Eddie Kingston because he's phenomenal. But it's just Brock Lesnar. Come on, there's not been a person.
I can't argue. He's been so entertaining.
Because the only other one I feel this year would have challenged Eddie for the thing would have been Roman.
See, for me, just because it's like, you know, his return to the ring and how great he's been on the mic with everyone was Punk. Just because I've missed.
You want to know why I held back? Because it's only since he started to do it with team up with MJF this we're actually getting the CM Punk instead of the CM Punk holding back a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, I think we saw it with Eddie Kingston as well. It was, you know, but
it started too, but it weren't. But where you're actually getting like the CM Punk now, that's why I haven't put him as my top talker. Next year he'll probably get it.
Yeah, but like even with his return, even with like Punk's 20-minute promo when he returned, it was like I hung on every word of it. But Brock probably is overall like just been incredible since his return, being able to actually talk.
I'm just worried that they're going to team him up with Paul Heyman again, and it's going to go back to the old ways.
Yeah, I hope they don't. I hope
they're going to put him in a
tracksuit. Happen. Yeah, I like, I like Farmer Boy Brock sitting there in his dungarees,
getting ready to cut some meat.
I was about to say getting ready to cut someone, but yeah, pretty much.
Bit gruesome there, isn't it?
No, pretty much what he does. He just walks in, tears heads off, and leaves.
It's a PG show, mate. What are you chatting about?
What is? Oh, I thought you meant this. I thought, what? Why are we a PG show? But yeah, I don't know. The thing is, though, this year we've actually had more great talkers again. We did last year.
Well, yeah,
great talkers again this year than what we. We've had more great talkers this year than what we have on like normal occasions.
Well, let's be honest.
Most years promos are where really WWE lacks over the last sort of decade or so, but they've been doing really well. Like you mentioned to me that Edge, like he was killing it. Him and Seth Rollins both been killing it with one another.
So I kind of put Seth on the back burner because sometimes I little the plot sometimes with Seth.
Yeah,
mainly because I don't think it seemed like Seth wasn't always there.
Yeah.
He was just saying stuff for the fun of it. I think it may have been his character, but
yeah, that's probably it. But yeah, I think that's the thing. We've actually had some very good talkers all around.
Well, yeah, it's like, let's be honest. A probably more shocking one that I put on my list today was Liv Morgan because she's just been getting better and better as the year's been going on. If she does not get that women's championship on tap tomorrow, I'm going to be pissed.
Moving on from best talker, I got top newcomer. Now, there's quite a big list here, to be fair, I think, because there's been a lot of.
Let's be honest, I surprised you with one of them as well, didn't I?
Yeah, there's been an awful lot of new talent that's come through, especially into WWE, AEW as well, but especially into NXT. Well,
basically, yeah, after they stopped most of their staff and then decided to. We'll just go in some bunch of new ones.
Yeah, because NXT basically just got rid of their entire roster and started afresh.
He was sacking everybody.
Yeah, so they had to find a load of new guys. So like for me, you've got guys like Bron Breakker who, since they've got there, have been made to look like a star, even with a stupid name, rather than using his real name, rather than using Rex Steiner, which sounds cool. they go with Braun Breaker, but whatever. But they've pushed him from the start, and I reckon he's probably going to beat Ciampa for the NXT title at New Year's Eve. I'm going to assume.
Because don't think about Austin Theory breaking loose onto the main roster.
Yeah, you got Austin Theory, but obviously, yeah, I mean, he's not technically like a newcomer as such, but yeah, he's new on like the main roster, but he's obviously not a newcomer.
Vince McMahon's taken over his thing. He's under Vince McMahon's wing.
Yeah, but I mean, he's not really like a newcomer in that he was on NXT for ages. He was on the main roster before, but and then obviously later in the year, only in the last month or so now, you had Hook make his debut. In ring
I do find every time I see him, though, he does look like he's put his finger while it was wet into a plug socket.
Yeah, he looks like an anime character. That's what everyone keeps saying. He looks like an anime character. You know, like they'd have like Goku's hair and all that. Be like,
yeah, but at least in Anaheim, the hair doesn't try and wave around, sort of thing.
Yeah, but yeah, you've had Hook, who I swear to God, the response to Hook has been ridiculous. Like people are so high on this kid. He's really good. He is really good, but like the response to him, I don't think I've ever seen it for a guy who hadn't ever wrestled before on his debut match. Like I think the only thing which compares to it in my mind is like when Ronda Rousey made her in-ring debut, but everyone knew Ronda, but like everyone was so hyped for her first match. So when Hook finally debuted, people were so hyped for it, and he lived up to it.
So, well, let's be honest, you've got a few of the females now also that are doing really well on NXT. I think Gigi probably maybe outshines some of the freaking top male talent they got there now because the fans just love her. So, but yeah, it's an interesting bunch. Let's be honest. Technically, CM Punk's a newbie.
CM Punk, yeah, he's technically a newbie.
Let's be honest. It's almost been 10 years that he's almost been out of the thing. He's like
virginity's regrown. Basically, his wrestling virginity's regrown, and he's fresh all over again.
That's a horrible image. But all right.
That's one way of putting it. That's what? There's nothing wrong with that. That's what's happened over 7 years. It's just
what's gone on here? Because normally it's me that's the outrageous one. What the hell have you done? What the fuck?
There's nothing outrageous about that. What are you on about? We then have. Well, where do you want to go from it? Should we go with best matches of the year, or should we go with best wrestlers?
I'm not fussed.
Okay, well, we got our best matches of the year. Once again, this has been an incredibly strong year for in-ring matches, not just in AEW either. WWE have had a lot of strong matches.
Yep, Roman Reigns done an amazing job this year. He's been holding his hand up.
Yeah, Roman's done great. There's been, to be fair, it has been like a very small circle, closed circle in WWE of just a few who have had really good matches that seems to be repetitive.
Yeah, but then you hit NXT and most of them now gone to bloody AEW.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, I don't know what I can name as like my absolute number one match of the year. I'm not going to lie. Like, I really can't think what one match stood out above and beyond everything else for me this year. I think I've got about 4 matches that are all on like the same level as one another. That Kenny versus Hangman Page for the title, where Kenny finally got crowned. That stands out because it was like Kenny passing the torch over to Hangman.
Well, anything with Hangman in, then it's gold. So
yeah, and that's the thing. So then I've also got like Hangman Page versus Bryan, their 60-minute Broadway, which was
but it was not. It's just pissed me off that automatically there's now going to be a rematch. I just thought was cool.
Yeah, they do just sort of move straight into stuff. I've got
a WWE move though. That's the thing though.
Yeah. I've got Britt Baker versus Thunder Rosa, their lights out match, main eventing the show, and them two just tearing living hell out of each other. I love that. Edge versus Seth Rollins, Hell in a Cell at Crown Jewel.
I see a lot of yours though have gone around what a lot of other people's top 10 listers of matches this year.
Well, no, because I mean, I've got lots in it. I've got CM Punk versus Darby Allin on here. I've got Sting Darby versus Team Taz. That Sting Darby Team Taz is not on any.
I haven't been put on one of them, but so far, mostly on the other ones you named so far on most of other people's top 10 list.
Do you know why? Because they're the best matches of the year that pretty much everyone
Yeah,
got
I'm
behind.
pretty sure though when I picked one of my ones, which I put on my list of like Goldberg v Bowie Lashley at the Crown Jewel and a whole wild match, that's not a lot of people's list.
No, because like I enjoyed that match, and I think it does deserve to be on anyone's list because it is enjoyable. It's not like
It's better than the one
like,
before at SummerSlam.
Yeah, I mean most things were. Yeah, but like Roman versus Kevin Owens, the last man standing match. That's not really making anyone's list because it ended really poorly.
I saw it on a few people's list actually.
But
oh no, it was Kevin Owens and somebody else in one.
Yeah,
was it Seth?
Roman versus Kevin Owens. Like that match was genuinely one of the most entertaining matches until the botched ending. Where they
bring the handcuffs involved and we can't undo it.
Yeah, and they can't undo it. Like until that, it was like genuinely one of my favorite things. Like it seems like most people are edging towards Walter and Ilya Dragunov being like one of the best matches of the year. I can see it, not personally for me, but I can see why.
Well, I think
people who like that stuff.
Personally, I think one that was like a little bit better with that where Walter was involved was Walter and Tampa.
Ciampa.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
For the title, because that was insane. They beat the living shit out of one another. Although talking about beating the living shit out of each other, Drew Sheamus and No Holds Barred at Fastlane fucking destroyed one another.
Yeah, they literally Drew's back was just completely messed up after Sheamus was all messed up from it.
It's been an interesting year for wrestling because you can go through technical masterclasses like you've had with like say Kenny Omega, Phoenix, to people trying to kill one another like Drew, Sheamus, Goldberg.
Yeah, you've actually had
Adam really Cole and Kyle O'Reilly were trying to kill one another.
Yeah, you've actually had a decent balance this year where you've had like Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole at Takeover. Their match was incredible. But then if you want to go like a technical masterpiece, you've got Bryan versus Omega as like a technical, just technically incredible match. But yeah, you can go and watch just big, beefy motherfuckers tearing the shit out of each other, and Goldberg and Bobby Lashley. Yeah. But and then also you've got things like CM Punk and Eddie Kingston.
Yep.
Which
God, I love that man, Kingston. He's
just an incredible match.
So underrated.
I don't think he's underrated now. I think people definitely know Eddie Kingston's up there with the best of them now. I think he's proved himself.
Where's his AEW Championship title match? Yeah?
I think it's funny about Eddie Kingston because we've spoken about him before, and like when he debuted, I'd heard the name, I'd seen him on other promotions here and there, like not really.
I kind of missed regularly him on Impact, but I first probably saw him on NWA.
Yeah,
and I heard him on the mic, and I actually fell in love with the bloke. And then I struggled to watch NWA.
Yeah, I think I saw him on. I think it was Progress. I think it may have been where I'd seen him originally. I can't.
As soon as he walked out onto that stage, I was like, "Yes, there's a superstar."
Yeah, when he answered Cody Rhodes' open challenge, and when he answered that, I was like, "Yeah, he sold me." Like within
but before he started talking,
he sold me.
I saw that who it was and was like, "Yes, they've got him superstar." I'm so glad he's there.
But the point being is like people like me who had maybe seen him or people who had never seen him, he literally sold people in like 20 seconds, which says an awful lot. That people struggle to, and also I think it says a lot for this is why you introduce someone like that and don't just throw them straight into a wrestling match, because when they're good like that, they can sell you without having to actually wrestle. They can sell you literally through their words, and that's what he did, not just to me, but to a lot of people.
But
then we've also got the worst matches of the year, which
I only put one on my list because I saw some of yours.
Yeah, I mean, there's one to me which stands out above everything else, just because not only did the ending completely fail and make a mockery of the entire match, but then everyone doubled down. When I say everyone, I mean Tony Khan doubled down and tried to defend the goddamn thing, and that was the exploding barbed wire death match between Kenny and Jon Moxley. Because the match itself was decent.
The only person managed to actually, after any of that, managed to get that thing to make any sense because of how it ended was Eddie Kingston.
Yeah,
in interviews on why he didn't move.
Yeah, like he didn't know. But
the bloke's a fucking superstar.
Yeah, like the thing which got me though was like Tony, like you said, Eddie Kingston trying to make some kind of sense of it, and Tony Khan just doubling down like, well, I'm not going to have things explode. It'd be dangerous. Well, don't book the goddamn match to be an exploding barbed wire death match, you goddamn asshole. Like, I hate that. I hate that shit.
Or at least
Doubling
go with
down.
the fearing that we're doing it properly, where at the end of the time the ring will explode.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen WWE have the ring buckle in and explode down and all that.
Thing is,
a
I would
dozen
have,
times.
because seeing some of the way other ones have ended before, all you need is a lot of smoke grenades.
Yeah, it's just a load of smoke and
And
mirrors.
a few more explosions around the thing, but just make sure some of the audience. Actually, although in those other matches, they didn't give a shit about the audience.
No. But also, there wasn't a crowd, really. There wasn't a crowd. It was still during the crowdless era. So it was like a small crowd.
There was people there, because that's why they had a few of their people there.
Yeah, it was a small crowd, but it wasn't like they weren't like a 20,000 seat arena by any stretch of the imagination.
Right next to it all, though.
So WWE, like, it's such bullshit. Like any of their excuses, it's such bullshit, because all they had to do was do the WWE thing, like, you know, when like Big Show and Brock Lesnar made the ring collapse and all that sort of stuff. That's all that's really had to do. That have that collapse mixed with a load of, as you say, smoke and fireworks, and it would have been fine. But instead, it looked like
put some C4 underneath that ring and blow
the shit sky high. But
Moxley could have taken it.
Instead, it just looked like there was two little girls with sparklers by the side of the ring, you know, and that was about it. And the thing which makes it worse was the fact that Eddie Kingston did look stupid when he didn't need to. But as you said, he tried to make sense of it.
Eddie Kingston managed to save himself on that one.
But it just made everyone look a bit silly, which is not the aim of the game. 1 second. Then we also have like The Fiend versus Randy Orton at WrestleMania 37, which they like, you know, they're hyped up as being this ridiculous, over the top, dramatic thing, and then it was just a generic match because they did it in front of the live audience. It's like, great.
So it's a bit like when Bray Wyatt and John Cena, and they had the cockroaches and stuff.
Yeah.
I got a projector, so I'm getting to use it on my ring.
Use my projector, yeah. And I also put Miz versus Damian Priest on there from when they used the goddamn zombies, and the Miz was like eaten alive by zombies.
That one's enough on a lot of people's list. I put Becky Lynch and Belair from SummerSlam because it was just fucking stupid.
Yeah. There was. I agreed with that at the time as well. It was like, they brought her back to a huge ovation and then just had her win. Let them have a goddamn match. Have a competitive match. They tore the goddamn house down.
They didn't actually do the actual match for it and have Becky win. Fine.
Yeah.
And then to try and do that hill thing when the typical SmackDown thing that they do. You fans turn on me. They're still cheering for you right now. What are you chatting about?
It's so stupid. When you can hear the crowd, but they're still piping in crowd noise. Have you noticed? Like on Raw and SmackDown, they're still piping crowd noise in. Because who was it the other day that came down? I can't remember who it was the other day, but the crowd was going nuts audibly. But when you looked at the crowd, they were all sat on their hands. So they're clearly pumping the crowd noise still in, which is just, so Vince is clearly like, he fell in love during the pandemic, being able to fiddle with the knobs, with the music control.
Oh, Vince and knobs.
Oh, Vince loves fiddling with some knobs. Also, Matt Hardy versus Sammy Guevara. The reason I've got to put that on there is the same basic reason that I put the barbed wire match on there, is the ending and letting that continue when Matt fell and hit his head and was so clearly out of it was a joke. And like, I know lots of people were like, oh, you know, Matt Hardy wanted to continue. No, but that's where, you know,
that's where you draw the line.
Yeah, that's where the people in charge have to step in and say, no, this isn't going to continue. Because they didn't just continue wrestling, did they? They went out and climbed up another goddamn structure.
I can't remember. I remember him disappearing for a little while because they disappeared. They came back after another match.
And then they went on stage, and he went through something off the stage and stuff. And it's like, it was just such. That was the first time in a long time I've really like felt scared for like a wrestler's well-being. Just because now we know like the impact of, you know, head injury, and it's like that shit terrifies me now. But also, I put this really isn't a knock at either of these women, because they're both very good, and Zelina Vega's had an incredible year this year. But I put Dewdrop and Zelina on there, but really representing the entirety of that Queen's Crown finale, because that was just a complete joke in that.
Well, yeah, well, let's be honest. The only female match that I think Vince cared about really being put on, especially for Crown Jewel, was Becky, Sasha, and Bella.
Yeah. And the entire Queen's Crown tournament lasted less time than the main event of Crown Jewel. You know, they built it for weeks and weeks and weeks, and the average match was like a minute and a half long. They couldn't have cared less about the whole tournament, which, you know, sums up WWE and the women. And as people were saying, when John Laurinaitis came back into power, everyone was like, "Well, goodbye to competitive women's division, because he does not give two shits about that stuff." Like, you know, so, and it's basically proven to be true. We've had like, unless your name is Becky Lynch, Sasha Banks, or Charlotte Flair, really they don't really give a shit. that's the truth. And obviously Bayley's out at the moment. You can add Bayley to that mix when she eventually, hopefully, comes back.
I miss Bayley.
I miss Bayley too. But yeah, and but talking about the women, we have our best female wrestler of 2021. Who have you got?
Don't know. I can't find the paperwork. I've lost my paperwork. I don't know what else. It's in front of me.
Always the professional.
Well, as I say, for one of my contenders, I'll go through the whole 5 that I have, which is Britt Baker, who's probably going to win it.
Yep.
Wow, without a doubt. Fucking hell, no point talking about the other 4 now.
Yep, that's that one dusted. There we go. No, go on, carry on.
No, you've ruined it for me.
No, go on. Who others? Because I have one name on my women's list, and it is Britt Baker, and that is it.
Well, look at you, Mr. Tony Khan. Bianca Belair, she's had a great thing up until like the last 3 months.
Yeah.
Liv Morgan, because I think from the beginning of the year she's only just got over better, and I'd love to let Liv Morgan have this. But you're too busy trying to be Mr. Tony Khan. Looking Britt Baker. Tay Conti, because she's had a phenomenal year. And twice she should have bit fucking Baker for that title. And Raquel Gonzalez, because, well, she's destroyed NXT basically.
Yeah,
from the beginning of the year.
Obviously, I don't watch much NXT, but what I saw of Raquel Gonzalez at the beginning of the year, I thought was incredible. From her debut onwards, was being like incredible.
She destroyed fucking Rhea Ripley in that last Women's Night at the beginning of the year.
yeah, that's what I remember. I remember seeing that and remember how great it was. Tay Conti is great. They're slowly getting there with a women's division in AEW. Slowly.
No, the thing is, they were, I feel, getting there, and then all of a sudden, it's all dropped down again, and you lost in. Whether this is all happening on the YouTube channel stuff, and you don't see it much on TV, and that's the case, well, then you fucked it.
I hate this as well, because they're still building stories on Dark and Elevation, and then just telling you that this is a story on TV without actually explaining it or showing it or doing anything. And like, people have got all these records, 50 wins and 1 loss or whatever, and you're like, I've never seen them goddamn wrestle. Like, I've not seen them wrestle in 6 months. Oh, because they're wrestling on Dark 12 times. But
that's only in one night they're wrestling 12 times.
Yeah, exactly, literally. Well, that's it. It's like, do you remember the old Goldberg joke where it was like he's...
where the numbers never quite made sense?
The numbers made no sense, where it was like 1 week he was like 170 and 0, and then the next week he's 250 and 0, and then the next week he's 190 and 0. Like, they would just make it up as it went along. Like, that's what I see when the little numbers come up on certain people on AEW. I'm like, I've never seen them wrestle more than like once or twice, and they've got 20 wins to their name or whatever. But yeah, I mean, they're slowly building up their women's division. I hope. Obviously, we don't know the reason why Toni Storm requested her release from the WWE,
because they're booking their shit.
But I'm assuming we're assuming because they've not treated her well since she's been up there.
Vincent McMahon poked his finger in her ass.
Nice. I'm the outrageous one today. Yeah, I'm the outrageous. And
I've just been warming up.
But hopefully, if she wants to stay in wrestling, hopefully it's nothing like that why she's left. If she wants to stay in wrestling, then hopefully she ends up in AEW, because they will use her very well there, because she's a legit female star.
Yeah, but getting back to the best women's, so we're saying Liv Morgan gets it. Yeah?
I think we're saying Britt Baker, right?
Fucking Tony Khan, bitch.
I just spent 5 minutes tearing apart Tony Khan in the barbed wire death match, so you know.
Tony Khan, bitch. To be honest, the only one that I've known that's actually won an award so far is Britt Baker, because all the others we've just discussed about, I never actually picked the winner.
Yeah. Well, I'm not really doing awards, just saying what we think are our favourites.
What's the fucking point in doing this?
So
I worked fucking hard on my lists.
It was a review. It's a review show. We're reviewing the year.
It's because we can do it because we couldn't review it on a weekly basis beforehand.
Yeah, and then we have our best tag team of 2021.
Oh god, that was a bit scarce this year.
Yeah, which is weird because
like division's not been the best on either.
It's weird because last year was like a really, really strong year for tag teams. I think they're getting. I think they're going to slowly start getting back to it, because you got Kyle O'Reilly, Bobby Fish, Adam Cole now in AEW with the Bucks and all this. So you got various tag teams sort of starting again.
So what tag teams you
got? I've got Jurassic Express really as my number one.
But Jurassic Express hasn't been around for ages.
Well, they still call themselves Jurassic Express, regardless of if Marcos...
The boy and his dinosaur.
Regardless of whether or not...
allow Christian to put himself in as the midget's place.
Regardless of... You can't say that. Regardless of whether or not Marco Stunt is there, they're still called Jurassic Express.
No, because
they are literally still called Jurassic Express. They call themselves every week.
Marco on the freaking t-shirt, they put Christian.
But they're like consistently, and Jungle Boy is getting more and more and more over. He's been getting more and more over since the debut of AEW, and he's still like just gradually getting more and more over.
What you're saying is Jungle Boy's carrying the team.
Well, yeah, 100% he is.
But yet your favourite person ever was Luchasaurus.
Yeah, when AEW started, but then I don't think Luchasaurus has ever regained that momentum he lost when he was injured. I think that's always been the issue with him now.
What are you trying about? He got that momentum back when he came back. And fuck people up in the ring that were fucking up.
He's definitely been slower though since he come back. It's quite noticeable. But I still love Luchasaurus and I love Jungle Boy. I think they're great. But then also like the Usos every year they manage to get it into the discussion.
I've always put on my thing, but because of how they've done the story and stuff, as soon as they technically join the family, all of a sudden they just start losing.
And also they're just sort of like backup dancers.
So that's why it hurt me deeply that I didn't put them in my list, because the Usos, there's no other team. It's only the Usos. They were all, no other team matters.
And who else you got?
Well, this time around I've got MSK, because they joined earlier on in the year in NXT and then all of a sudden won belts and were destroying it. Lucha Bros, because they've had a killer year. Imperium, because, well, they just dominate or whatever they do.
Yeah.
I got Toxic Attraction, because those girls have literally, since debuting in the 2.0, they've destroyed the women's division. And Gigi's just loved by everybody, even though she's a heel and just wants to stab you in the face.
That's a fair assessment. That's weird though, because like
FTR on the sideline, but they have been a bit 50-50 at the moment. They keep selling their asses to the Mexicans.
I'm not really. I've never been like a huge fan of FTR anyway, and like the Young Bucks not either. And I don't think the Young Bucks have stood out a lot this year.
No, they started off, as I said, the first half of the year they did really well. And then after losing the tag team titles to the Lucha Brothers, and then like the last 4 or 5 months, all of them pretty much on a losing streak.
Yeah.
So they haven't had the best of years, so that's why they're not on my list.
No.
But if you still go on other people's list, they're always on the Young Bucks, always on everyone's list.
They're always number one. It's the same as like Kenny Omega's always going to get number one regardless of. And to be fair, you can whatever we'll get onto that, but you can make an argument for Kenny Omega, but Kenny will always be number one on most like Dave Meltzer's list and all that, and Young Bucks will always be number one, and so they've those sort of people have their clear defined favourites.
Oh, I don't need that page anymore.
But talking about best male wrestlers, we have we're moving on to best male wrestler 2001.
Why can't we do the top moments of wrestling?
We'll do that after. So,
but I really want to talk about top moment things. I got some really good shit on it.
We're going to talk about it. We'll talk about it after. So, best male wrestler. Who have you got on your list?
I've got a few. I feel really it should go towards Roman because he's had a more or less flawless year. He's just been gold as well for the SmackDown brand. Kenny Omega, I think, would come very close to second place. Lashley, killer year. You can't mention best male and not have his name mentioned. Adam Page, because it's Adam Page.
Just because it's Adam Page.
Don't have to say anything more about that. He battled his alcoholism and then won a championship. Eddie Kingston, because he's been quite well. He's been quite flown through the thing. He was supposed to start doing stuff with Moxley, and then Moxley had Moxley issues.
Yep.
And then he still stayed afloat and has gone up against some of the big boys and proved that Bryan Danielson's a dickhead. Bryan Danielson, I've also, the dickhead. Look at that dickhead.
I think, I like you say, Roman, I think has been one of, if not the top guy in all of wrestling. I think he has been the top guy in all of wrestling.
Well,
face of the biggest company.
Even Bryan Danielson at the beginning of the WWE wasn't doing so well.
No,
they're taking the left company to go to AEW to pick up some wins.
But at
the same time, though, Randy Orton's killed it this year.
Yeah. Randy's
he's the one who's in the last 2 months has broken most Raw matches, pay-per-view wins.
Yeah, he took.
Is it pay-per-view wins or is it pay-per-view matches?
I think it's pay-per-view matches and Raw matches because he took. It was from Kane when Kane had the record.
Something like that.
Because Kane never was injured, so Kane was always around.
I've also got one more name, but this one's going to be more of a mention because I think he's had a great year and deserves a mention. He won't win this list, but Sheamus deserves to be mentioned of being around because his year this year and towards the end of half of last year was insane.
Sheamus is like Randy Orton. They're never in like.
No, it's not. He's really pale ginger and he's Irish.
They're never in like the top matches now, but they are constantly there doing stellar work throughout the year.
Randy Orton could be if they gave him Austin Theory and got him as a fucking apprentice to him. He said, no, he's got Matt Riddle. What are you supposed to do with Matt the fucking Riddle?
So like for me, let's say like Roman is definitely up there. I think Bryan Danielson, I think it's a stellar year for going from main eventing WrestleMania to main eventing AEW's biggest pay-per-views. I think is crazy, and I think since he's been in AEW, the man who WWE didn't want him wrestling anymore. I think we forget this as well. Like they didn't want him wrestling anymore, and he's been putting out better matches than ever, which is just crazy.
Yeah, with Johnny.
But then
he blames Johnny for his loss because he hurt his leg.
Yeah. But then also you have people like Adam Cole who have put on incredible performances this year. And we're basically holding NXT together with both hands.
Shot outside.
This is where we are. But you have people like Kyle O'Reilly, Adam Cole, who were like just holding NXT together whilst it was all crumbling around them. So I think there's an awful lot of top stars this year, and an awful lot of people who have done very, very well.
It's been an interesting one, but because there's only one reason, because I now really would have fucked that best male fight over. I really want to move on to the top modes because I couldn't mention this person in the best males because he'd only been around for a few months.
Who's that?
But my God, for the top moments of wrestling, Brock Lesnar has just made me wrestling so much more entertaining. He's been the most entertaining person around the whole fucking. Look at that place. Look at that thing with that hair and that what his gear. Why couldn't we got this Brock Lesnar the whole time he's been back? This is what Brock Lesnar pretty much is when he's at home.
Yeah.
When he's shooting, stabbing, gutting some deer or some buck or something like that. I bet the Young Bucks might shoot themselves if they ever meet Brock because he might get confused.
Oh, a buck. Could you imagine? Oh, a buck. My suplex now.
Where's my bow?
Oh, this is what you call a young buck. Well, I've got his head mounted over my fireplace now.
Oh, not Nick.
Yeah. Oh, that wasn't that kind of buck. Well, they're both stuffed and mounted in the corner.
But it's just proven once he's never needed Paul Heyman, which unfortunately got stale. Yep. This is the thing that's also now irritating me where they've done the thing where they've broken Roman and Paul Heyman up because they were in the perfect sort of thing. And also, Paul just did a small part to it, and then Roman just went with the rest.
It made Paul Heyman interesting again as well because Paul Heyman got to play like the cowering assistant rather than being the brash self.
So I now want to know where to go with it, but I feel they may ruin the person who's got me so much more back into love with. Which is Brock, because he's done great. Let's be at the shit with Sam. It was fucking phenomenal.
Yeah. It was so much fun.
And someone did a picture on Twitter of Sami Zayn and Brock being the Canadian tag, like being the SmackDown tag champions, like the Canadian something. Sort of. I was like, oh my god, that'd be fucking phenomenal. Sort of thing. So one of my top moments is just Brock Lesnar being Brock from 2021 because there isn't a piece of what he's done that isn't gold. You got Hook's debut because that was phenomenal. Let's be honest, Cody managing to completely fuck his body up by going through a table.
Cody Rhodes just burning half of his body.
Yeah, and having lumps of hot plastic attached to his thing, which is now, let's be honest, I think he's now permanently burned his body.
Yeah, I mean, it looked like for like days afterwards, they were still showing images of it. Like it looked really bad. Like
the week afterwards, you still see him, and he's still got all the scars and shit.
Yeah, like you can see on that, you can see the burns and stuff.
Look, that's part of the fucking table right here. The black bits all here on his arm and stuff. You can still see the stuff. I think that's permanent scarring.
Oh yeah, 100%.
I then got for top moments how WWE fucked Kieran Cross up, bringing him up to the main event. I don't get how you fucked that character up.
Look,
that person was gold.
If we start going down the rabbit hole of how they managed to fuck it up, we're never going to get off that. Like, there's too many to list.
My next
Cody, you're saying that there's the image of.
Look at those fucking thing. People boo this man. Look what he did for him. God, they forget he's a fucking parent, for fuck's sake.
You say he's a parent. The mother of their children was the one that set the goddamn table on fire.
Well, she's a bitch. She's always wants to be a heel, so she's a bitch. Adam, and then we come to the next one, which I think is a great story. Adam Page getting control of his drinking problems, and then winning a championship, and at the same time for having a baby.
Yeah, he's had a hell of a year, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's ruined his life. And then there is the last one that happened at WrestleMania. Bad Bunny shocking the world on how good he actually is as a wrestling person inside the ring.
that was actually genuinely incredible. Like, Bad Bunny was one of my favorite matches. It was just so fun. That whole match, everything.
All enjoyed what they did, and I think, especially with Morrison as well, Morrison could help make any kind look 10 times better.
Yeah,
but at the same time, you could also see that Bunny put the work in.
He tried. He because he's a legitimate fan, like a big fan of wrestling.
And I know that everyone, like the people were saying, well, yeah, he's been training hard. Well, yeah, they all say that.
They all say it, yeah.
Until you get in that ring and prove it.
Yeah. He did. He was awesome. Yeah, no, I agree. And I think we also have things like Christian making his return at the Royal Rumble.
Oh, yeah. How could I forget Christian? I love Christian.
Which was like, it feels so long ago now. Now he's been in AEW and we see him weekly, so it's like it feels like it was.
It was almost a year ago.
But that's what I'm saying. It feels so long ago. It feels like it happened last year. That's not long ago.
It was almost last year. It's literally we're at the stage of next month where it was.
Shut up! It feels like it was Royal Rumble 2020 rather than Royal Rumble 2021.
Tell me to shut up. I'm going to come over and mute. I'm going to press the button and mute you. Fuck this.
Because because at the Royal Rumble 20.
Does muted me?
Let's not play these games.
Because
genuinely, it feels like it was like last year, just because we now see Christian like on a weekly basis on AEW when we hadn't seen him wrestle in years and years and years.
Yep, because he's taking the small man's place.
It just feels so bizarre seeing him around, and also the fact that they managed to keep it a secret that he was going to be there was in and of itself a miracle.
Well, yeah, that was the one thing. Let's be honest, because I've always been that big Christian fan where or sometimes been 50-50. Well, I love now. I think talking wise, he's the best in the business. Apart from these days, now it's Eddie Kingston. But he's always been there at the top of the game talking. He's so impressive in the ring, and Vince McMahon just shat the bed on that man.
Vince McMahon never understood him. Yeah.
But yeah, Edge was fine. Come on, look at Edge. Look at Edge. Look at Christian.
I also think one of the top moments was just one of the best endings to a show for a long time, where everyone was expecting Daniel Bryan's debut, and instead out walked Adam Cole, and he joined up with the Elite again, and then out came Daniel Bryan. We got that double header as just an incredible moment in New York.
Yeah, but how you have a fucking show where so many people have done their debuts? How to blow up a fucking fan base? Fucking hell! That show was nuts.
That whole show was just incredible from start to finish, and it was inside the Arthur Ashe Stadium. It was the one that was the biggest show they've ever done. You know, it was massive stadium. But yeah,
let's be honest, CM Punk finally making his new because let's be honest, as I said, he's one of my new debutees. You know, I think he's been gone for almost 10 years.
I think for me, this has to be my moment of the year, just because for years and years now, like we were sitting, is he going to come back?
My moment of the year is Sting's face paint last week. That was fucking phenomenal.
Everyone just sort of assumed he wasn't coming back, that he was done. He was done. But then, you know, AEW made
these people.
Yeah, exactly. I was sitting here for weeks and weeks saying, no, it's happening. And right up until the day, though, I was still thinking, is it actually going to happen? I know he's going to be there.
If he didn't go to AEW, he'd be the leader of NXT 2.0.
Oh, God damn it. Yeah, he needs that credential.
Why? He was the leader of Nexus to start with, so...
Yeah.
Well, I say to start with. He took over. When they decided to come to core.
But yeah, also talking about Sting's face paint, and I loved CM Punk with the old Surfer Sting face paint.
But trust CM Punk to have to keep his colours.
Yeah. But did you notice? He had the stingers. CM Punk had the stingers on the tights and all that. I think that was awesome. I think that was so.
That's because he forgot his tights and his borrowed stings.
Yeah, but do you know what's so? Yeah, do you know what's so weird? It's like in WWE, if they'd have done that in WWE, that would have been a main event of the pay-per-view. Sting and CM Punk tag teaming.
Yeah, but they don't have many pay-per-views. That's the problem.
No, but that's something like they would have built that for ages.
I think then having some actual monthly pay-per-views will do AEW good.
Yeah, because that sort of thing is a spectacle which can draw, and like they just dropped it on us with a week's notice. Oh, by the way, next week you're going to have the legend that is Sting and returning CM Punk together in the ring, which you never thought was going to happen ever.
Yeah, but what I really want right now is just my one-on-one MJF if I can CM Punk.
Yeah, that's gonna be great. I can't wait. And they're taking a little bit more time with this one than they did with.
Well, can they hurry the fuck up and just get there? Because one of them's got to lose their sort of more or less undefeated streak.
No, I don't want them to hurry up and get there. I want them to actually take their time with something for once. Like Eddie Kingston with a 10-day build. And I was like,
no,
we're going to end it there.
There's certain ones they do long builds with us. And I like the thing with CM Punk. CM Punk has needed some story thing, but I do want to kind of get there because you know basically what's going to happen. One of them's got to lose, so they're going to have another rematch.
It's not going to be Punk. Punk's not going to lose. I shouldn't think.
I don't know.
I don't know. I think they're going to build Punk up to lose against Hangman or someone.
I don't know because I kind of feel that MJF deserves to sort of win to go on to Hangman and lose.
Yeah, maybe. Punk really doesn't need to win anything, but Tony Khan just obviously doesn't want to beat him. which is understandable, but also like
Britt Baker, really, ain't it?
But also, like, I can't imagine CM Punk's not going to be Hulk Hogan rubbing that old Fu Manchu saying that doesn't work for me, brother, when he puts a loss against him.
Oh, I can say Punk don't give a shit. He's just happy to be doing
CM Punk don't care. Yeah, he wants to be working. But this year as a whole has been really great. I mean, like, genuinely, AEW has been. I think it has been the show of the year, really, just because Raw has more or less become unwatchable.
Well, no,
at a lot of points.
Raw, you can't really bring into it. NXT's been changed, so you got to readapt right now.
Yeah.
The only thing that I could say about it right now is SmackDown. SmackDown for me, it's a toss in the air between SmackDown and say AEW Dynamite. We'll go with say AEW Dynamite.
Yeah. See, the thing is, like because SmackDown for me, one week it is incredibly good, and the next week it feels like it's been written by someone completely different and has nothing.
Yeah, but you can also say that sometimes with like AEW, because all of a sudden you get certain things of how they get the flow going right, and then all of a sudden it's just a bunch of matches with a few bits of story thrown in, and like that one.
Yeah, I think
neither one of the top
Dynamite.
We'll say the top shows is SmackDown right now and Dynamite.
Yeah, I think because with AEW you have a lot of time where it's just like wall-to-wall matches with no story, no build, and you think, well, that was a bit of a waste of time. Yeah, there were great matches, but nothing really happened.
So unfortunately, neither AEW and WWE right now, for their two top shows right now, haven't quite had the perfect streak right now.
I think on SmackDown,
since Brock's got back, it's been fucking amazing. But
the issue with SmackDown is they have a format they stick to every single week, and you can guess it like the back of your hand. Opening 20-minute segment, talking, probably Roman. If it's not Roman there, then he's going to be closing the show, speaking for 20 minutes, which they're great. But it's like they use the same format every week, and you're like, just do something new. I think that's where SmackDown falls down, is they have the inability to try anything fresh, and AEW has a lot.
Did you not see Brock Lesnar this year?
Yeah, but they did it. They do it once, and then when you do it for the 50th time, it's no longer fresh.
Don't you insult Brock Lesnar? I'll come over to your house and bitch slap you.
No, but it's true. Once you do it for the 50th time, it's no longer fresh. It was fresh the first time, and then when you keep on doing it,
but then they had the Sammy into it, and it was still fucking phenomenal.
No, I agree. It's still great.
It still doesn't change the fact. Paul Heyman opened his mouth and tried to bring us the old Brock Lesnar back.
It still doesn't change the fact that the format is exactly the same for 52 weeks of the year, and that's the problem. Is that they just cannot seem to change that format because
Tony Khan's dick.
I just said that AEW has issues as well.
Yeah, but then you spent the next 10 minutes fucking just insulting SmackDown. You spent 30 seconds insulting AEW, 10 minutes insulting WWE.
It's because you said about AEW, so I spoke about WWE. God damn it!
Yes, but I only spent a minute insulting AEW.
There was less than a minute being at SmackDown. You fuck.
No, it wasn't. It was longer than that.
You don't understand
your own voice. That's the problem.
It was less than a minute talking about SmackDown, you dickhead. Anyway, that is it for this year. That is it for this year in wrestling. Please do like and subscribe to us down below.
Final last word.
Please do like and subscribe down below if you are new here, and we will see you next time for another video. We are out.